Yes, good evening to everyone, and I heartily welcome once again to all the aspirants of EDC and English literature. Do join quickly, and in this YouTube video here, I will be hello, give the mobile. I'll be discussing actually the novels, the short stories about the partition of India. We will deeply delve into the realm of partition literature. We'll be discussing the short summaries as well as the impact of partition on literature. And please do join. And am I audible to everyone? Please do let me know. And if the PDF is also visible to everyone, good evening, everyone. I'm not quite well actually, but can't see it either. So that's why started again the session here. Good evening, everyone. Okay, so without delaying, let's begin the session here. Yeah, waiting for all of you. Do join quickly. All is okay. Thank you, Priyanka. Okay, we'll be discussing the novels as well as the short stories about the partition of India. Thank you for your confirmation, Priyanka. Okay, just a minute. So here the first novel, that is Aankh Ki Darya. Okay, that is actually Aankh Ki Darya here, and it was in English it is known as River of Fire. Okay, so Aankh Ki Darya, that was actually written by whom? The writer here, Kuratulian Haidar. Kuratulian Haidar has written Aankh Ki Darya, that was translated into English as River of Fire, and she herself, okay, has translated this work into River of Fire into English actually as River of Fire into English by herself, and it's a historical novel by Kuratulian Haidar, and it is providing the context of the traumatic partition of Indian subcontinent into two states. And it has been also described as one of the Indian subcontinent based known novels, that is Aankh Ki Darya. The novels actually timelines here you see spanned more than 2000 years ago. These are actually crash course batch PDF. Those who have joined my crash course batch, okay, they actually to them I provide this kind of PDF. So the novel timeline spanned more than 2000 years, starting from the time of Chandragupta Maurya in the 4th century BC to the post independence period in India and Pakistan. Okay, and it was also published in Urdu in 1959. Later it was translated by the author into English in 1998 as River of Fire. Okay, उर्दू में published हुआ था 1959 पे, but later it was translated into English as River of Fire by herself in 1998. And this novel आँख की, that is आँख की दरिया, actually spread across four Indian epochs. One is the classical, the medieval, the colonial, and the modern post-national. This is how these are well constructed PDF actually I provide to the crash course based aspirants. Here Haidar traces the fates of four souls through time. One is Gautam, Champa, Kamal, and Cyril. They are actually the characters of this novel. Here Gautam is appearing first as a student of mysticism at the Forest University of Savistri in the 4th century BCE. So here four epochs, that is dealing with classical, medieval, colonial, and modern post-colonial. Okay, you should know. Okay, just read that the story of, or you can Google that the story Aankh Ki Darya and read the summary of that novel as well. Okay, another novel is actually Angan. Okay, Angan is, that means actually in English courtyard. Okay, Angan, that means courtyard, and it alternatively spelled as Angan. It's a period novel by Pakistani novelist who is the writer here and the source editor, that is Khadija Mastur. Khadija Mastur has written Angan. It is a period novel, okay, that was published in the year 1962. It is hailed as a masterpiece of Urdu literature. Okay, and it has been also translated into three languages. The first and foremost thing you should know is that these work were actually translated by whom? By the US translator called Daisy Rockwell. You should, okay, remember this point because this point is very important. Daisy Rockwell, okay, Daisy Rockwell, an US translator, an US translator is okay, has also translated Tom Red Samadhi, that is as Tomb of Sand by Gitanjali Sri. Red Samadhi by Gitanjali Sri has written. That book was also translated into English as in English by Daisy Rockwell. That's why Daisy Rockwell is a prominent figure. So here this one was also translated into English Angan by Khadija Mastur into English translated by whom? It is translated by Daisy Rockwell as title as Inner Courtyard and the Women's Courtyard. Inner Courtyard and the Women's Courtyard, published in 2000 and 2018 respectively. Okay, and it was also renewed interest in the novel caused it to become the number one bestseller, in the country in 2019. Cracking India, you all know that each Ice Candy Man, okay, published in 1991 to 1992. India originally published as Ice Candy Man. So originally published as Ice Candy Man. The first title was Cracking India. It's a novel by Bapsi Sidhwa, you all know, and the setting is actually in Lahore. It is the story of Leni. Okay, it is the story of Leni, who is a Parsi girl, 4-year Parsi girl. Time is from 1943 to 1948. The novel is generally referred to as a story about the partition of India. Okay, here is the title, but its original title was Ice Candyman, which allows for a broader interpretation of the story. The plot is involving Leni, a 4-year-old Parsi girl who recounts her childhood memories after she is struck by polio in her infancy. So, in her infancy, during her childhood, okay, she was struck by what? Polio. And it is the story of Leni, a 4-year-old Parsi. So everybody knows the story. This is a famous story. Bapsi Sidhu was back in India. Okay. And here she spends most of her time with her Aya Thanta, who is actually an 18-year-old Hindu girl from Amritsar. Okay. And thus here is also summary is also given of this novel. Summary of this novel. Now, the novel originally titled as Ice Candyman. Okay. Uh, is often seen as a story about the Pakistan of India, goes beyond it, centers around Leni, a 4-year-old Parsis girl, explores the themes of sexual awakening and communal identity, set against the backdrop of India's partition from 1943 to 1948. Google में search करके you should okay know or read the summary of that novel, because in every university's PG course, okay, you will be getting this kind of okay you will getting this kind of novel in their syllabus. Okay, you'll be getting a partisan novel in their syllabus actually. Here, another important novel is Jhuta Sach. Jhuta Sach. By whom? Jhuta Sach by Jaspal. Jhuta Sach, written by Jaspal in 2 volumes. These 2 volumes of Jhuta Sach are based on the events surrounding the partition of India actually. Here, the first volume is known as Vatan or Des, and the second volume is known as Des Ka Bhavishya. Okay, Jhuta Sach, Des Ka Bhavishya, or Vatan or Des. Okay, that is also dealing with partition of India. Jaspal ने लिखा था झूठा सच. And in this novel series, he has beautifully portrayed the conflict to simplistic terms of class warfare, and the scope and realism of this novel has resulted in its favorable comparison with Leo Tolstoy's War and Peace. And this novel was actually compared with Leo Tolstoy's War and Peace because of its realism, because of this realism, portrayal of the realism, depiction of realism. Okay. Another novel is Ghost of India. Ghost of India by Mark Morris. Okay, it's a BBC book, original novel by Mark Morris, and it's based on the long-running science fiction television series Doctor Who, and it features the 10th Doctor and Donna novel, also Gandhiji also. This novel here, Ghost of India, is also featuring what? This novel also featuring here Gandhiji as well. That's why this novel is very important. Mark Morris was has written this work, Ghost of India, and here, okay, here that is, it features the 10th Doctor and Dona Noble and also Gandhiji. The summary of this novel is here: India in 1947 is a country in the grip of chaos, a country that is torn apart by internal strife. Here, when the Doctor and Dona arrive in Calcutta, they are instantly swept up in violent events. Okay, and here you see, with the help from India's great spiritual leader Mahatma Gandhi, the Doctor and Dona set out to investigate these rumors actually. Okay, that is a novel, Ghost of India by Mark Morris. Okay, you should know the summary of this novel. Khak or Khun. Khak or Khun is a 1950 Urdu historical novel by Nasim Hijazi. Okay, that describes the sacrifices of Muslims on the Indian subcontinent during the time of partition in 1947. Khak or Khun is also a partition novel, Indian partition novel by Nasim Hijazi. And here the novel is here Salim. You all know that Salim Sinai is a novel in Midnight Children. Here the novel, here the protagonist is only Salim. Salim Sinai is a character in Midnight Children, whereas here Salim is also, here it is also Salim, but it's not Sinai, it's only Salim. Khagar Khun by Nasim Hijazi, who is the son of a Tahsildar and belongs to a very influential and virtuous joint family. Okay, I read that novel. Okay, from that Google actually after doing searching actually on Google. Kitne Pakistan? Kitne Pakistan here? How many Pakistan? Okay, it's a Hindi novel by Kamalesh sir. Kamalesh sir has written Kitne Pakistan, who is a Hindi writer who pioneer of the Naya Kahani. That is, Naya Kahani means Nai Kahini. That is new story actually. Movement of the 1950s and later screenwriter of Hindi cinema. Okay, the novel combines allegory and realism. Kitne Pakistan deals with the vast expanse of human history. It follows the rise of sectarianism, nationalism, Hindu Dubata, and communalism as well. And here it witnesses the violent separation, bloodshed in the aftermath of partition of India in 1947. Examines the nature and futility of decisive politics and religion as well. It won the it won the Sahitya Academy Award for Hindi also. That's why this work is very important. It won the 2003 Sahitya Academy Award for Hindi given by Sahitya Academy. Okay, that is Kitne Pakistan by Kamalesh sir, and it is also considered as author's finest work. Okay, and one of the classics of modern Hindi literature. And the classic one here is Midnight Children. Midnight Children, that is actually here Salim Sinai, 1981 novel, British writer Salman Rushdie, published by Jonathan Cave and Bill Bolton. Here it is about the India's transition from British colonial rule to independence and partition actually. Okay, dealing with post-colonial, post-modern magic realist story. So Midnight Children by Salman Rushdie. The style is actually account of self-reflexive, and here is loosely allegory for events in 1947 British Raj in India after the partition of India. The main protagonist of this novel is actually Salim Sinai, born at the exact moment when India became an independent country as well. He was born with telepathic powers, okay, as well as enormous and constantly dripping nose with an extremely sensitive sense of smell. The novel is divided into three books. So Midnight Children is divided into three books. Salim Sinai is the main protagonist. The first book begins with the story of Sinai family, particularly with events leading to the fall of British colonial India and the partition. Okay. Here Salim Sinai is actually born precisely at midnight, 15 August 1947, therefore exactly as old as independent India. He later discovers that all children born in India between 12 a.m. and 1 a.m. on that day are imbued with special powers. And what was the power of Salim? Salim had the telepathic powers. Salim, using his telepathic powers, assembles Midnight Children Conference, reflective of his issues Indians faced in its early statehood concerning cultural, linguistic, religion, and political differences. Also, Salim acts as a telepathic, okay, conduit, bringing hundreds of geographically disparate children into contact while also attempting to discover the gifts. And here you see that meanwhile Salim's family begin a number of migration, endure the numerous wars which plague. I'll be deeply delve into the summary of that novel actually when I'll be discussing Midnight Children in separate videos. Here it is only about the partisan literature, not will be discussing the everything okay, of that novel. So you should know the story, the summary of Midnight Children because it is a part of partisan literature as well. It's a famous one of the classics of Indian literature as well. So here It becomes symbol of the Indira Gandhi proclaimed emergency and her son Sanjay's cleansing of the Jama Masjid slab. Okay. Another novel is here, The Night Diary. It's a young adult novel by the American writer Veera Hiranandi. Okay, Veera Hiranandini. The Night Diary is also another novel, the young adult novel written by American writer Veera Hiranandi and published by Penguin Random House in 2008. So, Night Diary is also a partisan novel. It is set in 1947 during the months before and after the independence of India and subsequent division with Pakistan. So Veera Hiranandani has written The Night Diary, which is a young adult novel. And this is the story of Nisa. Nisa is a young girl who has just celebrated her 12th birthday along with a twin brother Amil. So the twin brother is Amil. Nisa and Amil, they are actually twin. Little bit worried about my health actually, not quite well. Here you see is that is written as diary entries from the perspective of Nisa. So it was written actually as diary entries from the perspective of Nisa, a girl who just celebrated her 12th birthday along with her twin brother Amil. Okay, these are actually these PDFs are actually made for the crash course batch students, those who have joined my crash course batch, to whom I actually provide this kind of PDF. And those who want to join my crash course batch for the upcoming UGC NET English Literature exam, you can call me, you can WhatsApp me, you can join the session. Okay, so here the Night Diary is set around this time of partition and separated into two different countries. The story is told through the eyes of as a 12-year-old Nisa, uh, the protagonist of the story actually. The novel is open. The novel opens on 14th July 1947. It is the twins' 12th birthday, and to celebrate, their father has gifted Nisa another piece of gold jewelry from her mother's collection and given her brother Amil actually an illustrated book of tales from the Mahabharata. Okay, so to her brother, the father has given a tales from the Mahabharata, whereas to Nisha, the father has given a piece of gold jewelry from her mother's collection. And it is also the mother's death, okay, anniversary. The day also marks the sad anniversary of their mother's death in childbirth. Okay, uh, that's why the Night Diary by Veera Hiranandani is also important partisan novel. Okay, yeah, yes. God. So paternal grandmother, Dadi, the thing you need to know. The story takes place in West Pakistan, soon to become as Pakistan after East Pakistan becomes independent and known as Bangladesh as well. So Pinjar, you all know Pinjar, that is the skeleton, that is by Amrita Pritam. Pinjar was translated into English as skeleton by Amrita Pritam. It's a 1950 Punjabi language novel written by the notable Indian poet and novelist Amrita Pritam. It is the story of a Hindu girl, that is the Puro. So who is the protagonist of this novel? It is Puro. In Pinjar, we find the character Puro. Puro is the protagonist of this novel, and he was abducted. Puro was abducted by whom? Puro was abducted by Rashid. Okay, Puro was abducted by Rashid. Here is abducted by Muslim man Rashid. Puro's parents refused to accept the defiled girl when she managed to escape from the Rashid's home. So here you see that Puro was able to escape from the classes from the classes of Rashid. But when she came back, her family was refusing to accept that defiled girl. Okay. So Pinjar is widely considered one of the outstanding works of Indian fiction set during the period of partition India, and it has also made into a film. The novel was adapted in the 2003 Hindi film of the same title, Pinjar, where starring Urmila, Manoj Bajpayee, Sanjay Puri, they actually acted. Okay, so Pinjar by Amrita Pritam. Okay, here another novel is Sacred Games. Sacred Games by Bikram Chandra. Okay, Bikram Chandra has written Sacred Games, published in 2006. It got the Vodafone crossword book actually. Sacred Games runs mostly on two parallel tracks, one winding through the criminal underworld of Mumbai, that is earlier now then known as Bombay actually, And here the characters like you find the only Sikh police officer in the city is that is Sartaj Singh is seemingly invited to the pursue Mumbai's most legendary crime boss Ganesh Gaitonde. Ganesh Gaitonde Sartaj Singh appear in that novel Sacred Games by Bikram Chandra. It's a mystery thriller novel as well as a partition novel dealing with partition, the aspects of partition as well. Okay, Gaitonde reveals a harrowing timeline and a few hints of the identity of his collaborators before taking his own life. And the Shadowlands, you all know, Shadowlands Sahitya Academy Award winning novel by the Amitabh Ghosh, and it is actually set against the backdrop of the historical events like Swadeshi movement, Second World War, partition of India, communal raids of 1963-1964 in Dhaka and Calcutta. And here, this novel earned Amitabh Ghosh the 1989 Sahitya Academy Award for fiction for English by the Sahitya Academy. And here the novel was translated into Sahini Topiwala into Gujarati 1998. You should remember that the Shadowlands was translated into Gujarati by whom? By Salini Topiwala. By Salini Topiwala has translated this work into Gujarati in the year 1998. And you should know that Swadeshi movements, the backdrop was Swadeshi movement, Second World War, partition of India, communal raids of 1963-1964, Dhaka and Kolkata. Okay. And here this novel is also split into two parts. Okay, this novel here talking about the Shadowlands. It has two parts. One is going away, another one is the coming home. The novel follows the life of a young boy growing up in Calcutta who is educated in Delhi. So this is the story of here Trideep. Trideep is an interesting character. Okay, Trideep is an interesting character. The narrator's uncle. Okay, Trideep actually. And here you find the characters of this novel here. Trideep, the protagonist, is a middle class boy who grows up in middle class family, is the narrator's uncle. Okay. The narrator's uncle is Trideep, who is the protagonist of this novel. He is in love with May actually. Thamma is also the narrator's grandmother. She was the headmistress of girls' school in Calcutta. And Ela, she is translator. She is the he is the narrator's cousin who lives in Stockwell, London. The narrator is in love with her, but she marries Nick. And May is also here. May actually she is the Price family's daughter, love with Trideep and blames herself for his death, for Trideep's death actually. Okay. Another important novel that is dealing with the partisan literature is Shalimar the Clown. Shalimar the Clown here, 2005 novel, Salman Rushdie. The novel took Rushdie 4 years to write here, was initially published on 6 September, Jonathan K. Shalimar the Clown by Salman Rushdie. So Shadowlines by Amitabh Ghosh, Shalimar the Clown is also dealing with the partisan novel, and here is the source says that Shalimar the Clown derives its name from Shalimar Gardens in the vicinity of Srinagar. Srinagar is one of several Mughal gardens which were laid out in several parts of undivided India when Mughals reigned from the subcontinent. Shalimar is also the name of the characters featured in the novel. Shalimar the Clown, Shalimar is actually the titular character. Shalimar is actually the titular character, okay. Okay, that featured in the novel Shalimar the Clown. Here, the novel is based partly in small town in the region of Kashmir. The town itself is imaginary, but it is located in an accurate geographic location not far from Srinagar. The title refers to a character in the story Kashmiri villager named Salimar, the titular character, who performs a tightrope act for amusement of the other villagers. And here, this novel is actually okay. Chalo. Here is the Tamas. Tamas is actually penned by Tamas. You all know that is Tamas is by Bisam Sahini, the winner of the Sahitya Academy Award in 1975. Tamas ko Sahitya Academy come in 1975. In the year 1975, Tamas got the Sahitya Academy Award, and that is depicting the riots in a small Indian town. And arid score Tamas is a story that follows lives of people from both Hindu and Muslim communities, shows how their lives are intertwined actually. It all of that falls apart in no time when people fear that their identity is under attack. Thomas by Bishop Sain is also a partisan novel. Okay, here the Scarlet Wood, the Scarlet Sword actually. The Scarlet Sword by an is an English novel by H.E. Bates. Okay, the Scarlet Sword by H.E. Bates is also a partisan novel. Here the novel was serialized in John Bull from 19 August to 7 October 1950. Here the narrative deals with the battle between India and Pakistan over Kashmir. Okay, the narrative is dealing with the battle between India and Pakistan over Kashmir, especially historical event of the sacking of St. John's Convent, Jammu and Kashmir. Okay. Then here important work is Tomb of Sand by Gitanjali Sri, and this work, this question was asked in WB set, okay, 2022 actually. Who had translated okay, Tomb of Sand into English. Okay, in WB set this question was asked actually in the last year. So 2018, in Hindi language novel by Indian author Gitanjali Sri. Okay, so Tom, that is Red Samadhi. Red Samadhi was written by whom? Gitanjali Sri, and was translated into English by US translator Daisy Rockwell. So who had translated? It was Daisy Rockwell has translated this work into English as Tomb of Sand. That's why it's very important, and question also have come from this topic. Okay, and in 2022 also you should remember that in 2022 the book became the first novel translated from Indian language to win the International Booker Prize. Indian language translated होके Booker Prize मिला था, first novel 2022 में मिला था. Here the book is tracing the transformative journey of 80-year-old Ma who becomes depressed after the death of her husband and then decides to travel to Pakistan, confronting trauma that had remained unresolved since she was a teenager, who survived in the partition riots as well. Here in northern India, an 80-year-old woman slips into deep depression after the death of her husband actually. Chalo, this is all about the novel here, Tomb of Sand, Red Samadhi. And you all know that this is a Train to Pakistan is also a historical novel, but dealing with the themes of partition here by Buswant Singh, having the it has the total 4 parts actually. Okay, said in Monomajra, a fictional border village. Train to Pakistan, historical novel. Partition of India recounts the partition of India, August 1947, through the perspective of Monomajra, a fictional border village. Instead of depicting the partition in terms of only the political events surrounding it, Buswant Singh digs into deep local focus as well. Okay. So this is also a partition novel. Not we'll be discussing the summary as well here. Okay. In a separate video, I'll be making the summary of that novel, or when I'll be discussing separately Kushwan Singh, then I'll be discussing the stories or the short summaries of that novel. Here, a fine balance by Rohinton Mistry. And you know, Rohinton Mistry is actually famously is famous known for his 4 works. One is the Tales from Firozabad. This is a collection of short stories, and other 3 novels. Rohinton Mistry has written 3 novels. One is the a Fine Balance. Second novel is such a long journey, such a long journey, such a long journey. Okay, and another novel is actually uh, uh, Family Matters. Okay, Family Matters. Okay, these are 3 novels written by Rohinton Mistry. What did I say? A Fine Balance, has a Long Journey, Family Matters. These are 3 novels written by Rohinton Mistry. And Tales from Firozabad is actually a collection of short stories by Rohinton Mistry. But here our case is a Fine Balance, that is dealing with the aspects of themes of partition. Okay, written by Rohinton Mistry. The story is said in 1975. However, the partition plays a dominant role in the narrative of this novel, that is a Fine Balance. Okay. So Interpreter of Melodies, it's actually a short story, collection of short stories by Jhumpa Lahiri. Jhumpa Lahiri's Interpreter of Melodies also dealing with the aspects of partition novels. Okay. Interpreter of Melodies here dealing with the themes. It's a collection of short stories. Collection of short stories. Okay. So collection of short stories. Interpreter of Melodies, Pulitzer Prize for Fiction मिला in the year 2000. Okay, a collection of short stories, some of which involve the aftermath of the partition. Interpreter of Melodies by Jhumpa Lahiri. Okay, then here a Bengali novel by Sunil Gangopadhyay. Okay, Purva Paschim. Okay, Purva Paschim, East and the West is an epic Bengali saga by Sunil Gangopadhyay. The narrative is dealing with the particular family that had to migrate from East Pakistan to West Bengal. Okay, Purva Paschim by Sunil Gangopadhyay dealing with the aspects of partition. Kingdom's End and Other Stories by Sadat Hasan Manto. You all know Sadat Hasan Manto is famously known for his work Toba Tek Singh and Thanda Ghost. Okay, Kingdom and Other Stories is a collection of stories written by Sadat Hasan Manto. And here, the majority of the stories of this Urdu writer from Punjab revolve around the end of the Raj, that is the British Raj, partition and the communalism. Okay, and his stories, famous stories include Thanda Ghost and Toba Tek Singh. Okay, Kingdom's End and Other Stories. And another novel is by Atia Hossain by Sunlight on a Broken Column. Sunlight on a Broken Column is a novel by Atiya Hussain who depicts the experiences of the protagonist Laila. Laila is actually a protagonist of this novel, Sunlight on a Broken Column, a young woman from the Talibdari family of Oath in the years leading up to the partition. Sunlight on a Broken Column by Atiya Hussain. A Band in the Gangas by Manohar Malgankar. A Band in the Gangas is also a novel, okay, featuring the some of the graphic violence that occurred during the partition of the novel. Manohar Malgankar has written A Band in the Gangas. Okay. Now the Dark Dancer. Now the Dark Dancer here by actually Balachandran Rajan. Balachandran Rajan has written, okay, The Dark Dancer. It's a novel, portrays the experiences of an Indian educated abroad who returns home to face the horror of the partition. To face returns home to face the horror of the partition. Dark Dancer is the work by Balachandran Rajan. Here then Basti by Intijar Hossain. Basti by Intijar Hossain is an Urdu novel that focuses on the partisan as memory through the mm, so focuses on the partisan as memory through the lens of protagonist Zakir, a historian who seeks to come to terms with his memory in the context of happenings in 1971 in Pakistan leading up to the formation of Bangladesh. Basti by Intijar Hossain. ठीक है. Now you have What the Body Remembers is a famous novel by Sona Singh Baldwin. Out of the rich culture of India and the brutal drama of 1947 British partisan comes this last and eloquent debut novel. This is the debut novel of Sona Singh Baldwin. That is, okay, What the Body Remembers, about the two women married to the same man. Two women is actually married to the same man. Here, Rube is the name of the woman. Rube is a young girl whose mother has died and whose father is deep in debt. So she is elated to learn she is to become the second wife of a wealthy Sikh landowner in a union beneficial to both. For Sardaji's first wife, Satya, has failed to bear him children. That's why Roop believes that she and Satya, still very much in residence, will be friends. But the relationship between the older and the younger women is far more complex. And as India lurches towards independence, Sardaji struggles to find his place amidst the drastic change. Okay, and here meticulously researched and beautifully written. What the Body Remembers is in advance a poetic, political, and feminist sensual. So these are all fictional work uh, dealing with the themes of partition, the impact of partition on literature, and this is how these works were produced by the famous authors. Okay, so I'll be ending the session here. And these are actually PDFs that I provide to the crash course batch students. If you want to join my crash course batch, you can join. And this is how I will be providing the PDF. Those PDFs are actually well constructed. Hmm. You don't need to read from anywhere. Okay, if you read the PDF, that is enough. Actually, it is enough. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Good night. Thank you, everyone. Good night.